Mr. Baker, how are you?
Everybody, it's a photo, so like still wearing. Yeah. Just say you look friendly. Thank you.
Turnabout.
Oh.
That was the work. I see it probably. I'd say at least every other time I'm up there, somebody.
Where should I stand?
A lot of it is.
Wherever, and here would probably work the best.
You don't think
I'll see you right.
that have
I can stand behind everybody. Oh, well, do I guess I need to.
Hello.
Yeah, you're good.
Hello and welcome to the 2021 Willard Board of Education Candidate Forum. I'm Janet Simmons, a Willard High School teacher and the Willard CTA MSTA chapter president. Tonight's participants will not be wearing masks, so you can hear them and they may speak clearly. However, we will be addressing at least 6 feet apart for all of our participants. Tonight's moderator is retired Willard librarian Miranda Bryant. And our candidates are Amanda Gooch, Stephanie Campbell, Matthew Young, and Jennifer Triplett. And now to begin. Please take 3 minutes to introduce yourself and explain your reasons for seeking a seat on the Willard Public Schools Board of Education. Include any leadership experience and personal or professional involvement with the Willard School District that you would like to include. We'll start with Amanda.
May I stand? Hello, my name is Amanda Gooch. My children have been part of the Willard School District since kindergarten. They went to Willard Central, and now they're freshmen in high school. My reason for wanting to run for school board is to just carry my passion on to the kids that will come after my kids. My children have had a great experience in the Willard School District. We have been very fortunate to have had great support from the teachers and from the community. And I just think it's important that we have people to be a voice and carry that on for the future of our students at Willard. My leadership qualifications are, I've had some experience being PTA president at Willard Central. I currently am a healthcare leader, so I bring leadership knowledge and experience over large teams of coworkers and providers. I think the strongest attribute of a leader is being able to positively influence others and just seek out for those to be their best self. And when we have that, along with support and alignment, I think our school district will benefit from that, as well as our teachers and our parents.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Well, my name is Stephanie Campbell. I moved to the Willard area about 10 years ago. My husband and I chose to move here because it's geographically close to where we already worked. And the town, when we visited, reminded me a lot of my hometown. I grew up in a small town just north of Kansas City. And so it really felt like home as soon as we visited. And then the third thing that really attracted us to Willard, of course, was the quality of the schools. When we moved here, we had 2 young sons I was expecting again. And so we really wanted to make sure that they had a good place to learn and grow. And so as I've been here in my life, I've worked as a psychologist and a behavior analyst. I've had lots of different kinds of positions, teaching at various universities, working in clinics and mental health facilities, also working in private practice. But some of the experience I'm really proud of is my time that I've spent in the schools. I've held various positions in school districts, starting out as a paraprofessional in a second grade classroom in the Liberty Public Schools, became a school psychologist and behavior specialist at the North Kansas City Public Schools, and culminating in my experience at the Lee Summit Public Schools as the director or the principal type position over the alternative school. So I have a lot of experience in the schools. I also consult with various school districts here in the area. So I enjoy being involved in the schools. And so my goal, this fall, I'm going to have 5 kids enrolled in various ways throughout this district, ranging from age 16 to 2. And so I just look back and reflect on how many wonderful experiences they've had in this district and how much they've grown. And I just want to be able to give back to the district. And so I want to be able to bring my experience in the schools, my technical knowledge as a psychologist and behavior analyst, as well as my perspective as a parent to the school board to help give back.
Thank you. Matthew?
Well, thank you guys for coming out tonight and gaining some knowledge on the candidates. It's very important to be informed in decisions like this, so thank you for taking your time out tonight. My name is Matthew Young. I'm a native of Willard in a sense, graduate in '97. My wife, Rachel, and our 2 sons have been back in the district since our oldest son started in a mixed mainstream preschool class several years ago. We'll just leave it at that. I'm also a former employee of the school district. I worked for 10 years as the technology coordinator under Bob Andrews to help our district grow in the technology aspects of the district. I've seen a lot of programs come and go relating to that. Smart boards and projectors and one-to-one and Wi-Fi and all that good stuff. Like I mentioned, we have 2 boys. Elliot, he's a freshman. Jarrett, he's a 5th grader at Willard Intermediate South. We have loved our experience with Willard, and I did as well as a student. And I got to a point in my life where I knew I wanted to come back to Willard and raise my family. When I left Willard as an employee, the Lord blessed me with an opportunity to become a small business owner in the area. And when I left, Rachel and I talked, and I said, I still want to give back. And decided that running for school board was a good way for me to do that. So I ran once and just barely missed it, and was encouraged to continue and to run again. And I ran again, and now I'm finishing up the last of the 3 years of that first win that I had as school board member. I'm seeking to be reelected, so I am an incumbent in one of the 2 seats for the positions that are available. As far as leadership capacity that I have, I served on the strategic planning committee for Willard. I've served on the facility committee, which we're working on short-term and long-term opportunities with the district. I've served on the superintendent evaluation committee, and looking forward to serving here shortly on the health insurance selection committee. I'm your current vice president for the school board under Kip Baker's leadership, and I appreciate his mentorship in that aspect. I've been a coach for Willard Youth Baseball Program, and like I said, I'm a small business owner within the district. So I feel like I have some things to bring back to the district and to continue. I feel like there's things that I have yet to accomplish as a board member, and looking forward to that opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Good evening, everybody. So glad to be here and have this opportunity to talk to you all. My name is Jennifer Triplett. So they told us we have 3 minutes to tell you about ourselves, and I put together a few thoughts. feel like it's hard to go last, because you all said so many nice things. Anyway, personally, a little bit about me. I am married. My husband, Ron Triplett, has lived in the Willard area and been a business owner in this area for about the last 35 years. It is our second marriage, so I've been around Willard for about the last 10 years and really have loved it out here. Moved here from the East Coast with my 2 daughters, so I have 2 daughters. He has 2 daughters, so altogether 4 daughters who are 14, 15, 16, and 17 years old. Of course, lots of raging hormones, and they're all different. I think that goes for all kids, right? They're all different. Also very interesting maneuvering between 2 school systems. So of course, my 2 girls, since we live here in Willard, are here in Willard. My oldest daughter is a junior at the high school. She's very involved with the thespian program. So plug for Willard High School Thespians, buy your tickets for Thunder Lasting, which are on sale right now. My younger daughter, Nora, is an 8th grader at Willard Middle School. She is in the special skills program. She is a very special child to us, although they're all special, but she is quadriplegic cerebral palsy, so she's nonverbal, tube-fed in a wheelchair. And coming here and changing school systems was probably our biggest worry moving here, and I can only say the best things about Willard Special Services. We love all of our teachers, all of the staff, all of the paras, and everybody who's been involved with her. But in general, we have been so happy to be here at Willard with all of the programs that we've been involved with here. And professionally, I'm an attorney. I own my own law firm here in Springfield. I also have a small office out in Joplin and Branson that I go to a couple of times a month. Primarily, I do estate planning, business planning, real estate, a little bit of family law, mostly adoptions and guardianship. So most of my work centers around families. Additionally, I am a guardian ad litem attorney for the Greene County Juvenile Office. So I represent children who have been removed from their parents and are in foster care, and I carry a caseload with Greene County of about 80 kids at any time. So I have numerous other kids in the Willard school system who I'm responsible for, as well as in other school systems around. And that has taught me quite a lot. Just that all kids are very different and have their own needs, and I would be very honored to represent all the kids here in the district. I think I'm out of time.
Thank you. All right. What do you see as the greatest strengths and weaknesses of our district? And we'll start with Stephanie.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that come into play that makes our district so great. First, it's a fantastic community, and fantastic communities are made up of great families. And when great families send their really special students into the schools, it attracts really talented, passionate teachers. And so I think that just having that perfect storm of a really supportive community, highly trained professionals, and families that want to send their very best and do send their very sweetest children to Willard, I think is what makes us really a strong district. And so what relates to that, I think, is an area of progress where we could look at. I don't like to use the word weakness. An area where maybe some progress could be made is that sometimes when you have districts that are full of really passionate, highly trained professionals, it's easy to lose sight of, pulling in involvement from the community. And sometimes the community and the parents feel so confident in these professionals that they tend to be less involved. And so what I really want to see is that we're making sure that we're keeping communication open, that we're really trying to partner with our community, whether it's just community members, parents, and or students, at the point where we're making decisions. Because I think that when we're bringing in information from lots of groups of people, who have a lot of different viewpoints, that's where the best decisions are made. And so that's where I just really want to see us grow in this district, is just making sure that we're really opening that communication and using all the funds of knowledge from all the different groups in this fantastic school district.
Thank you. Matthew, same question, greatest strengths and weaknesses of the district.
Absolutely. So this is going to start to get pretty repetitive as we move through these questions. You know, first and foremost, I think our greatest strength, asset is our students, right? Our students are our future, and sometimes I don't think we give them enough credit for what they're capable of doing. So for me, our greatest strength is our students, and then quickly followed by our staff, and that's all of our staff. We've got great certified staff, great support staff, and I just view that as a mega strength within our district, right? Some things that have come up here recently that I value as a strength for our district is the community of Willard loving well, right? I think we've seen a great shift in our community in that area of love and support for our students, our staff, and our community. So I see that as a great strength. I've been a huge supporter of the Leader in Me program within our district. I've seen the benefits in our students and in our staff, and frankly, as it trickles into our families. So I believe Leader in Me is a great strength, and I hope to continue to see that and support that as it grows within our district. And then last but not least, but all encompassing, is our strategic plan. I'm very proud to have been part of the committee. I'm very proud of our community that we've been able to develop such a positive strategic plan, and we're able to use that as a tool to guide us as we continue on in the next several years. And I'm looking forward to what the next strategic plan might look like as well as we complete our current one. Like Stephanie said, I don't like to use the word weakness because, you know, in Willard, I don't think there's a true weakness, right? Maybe I'm living in a dream world, but, you know, some areas that we can improve upon, like Stephanie said, or opportunities, right? I think stem maybe from our community in regards to our tax base. I think that's something that hinders us as a district. But, you know, I see it on the horizon. It's coming, right? Growth in our community that will allow us to have more funds to go back into the classroom and invest in our students. And then the other one that's just been a long-standing opportunity, and even back when I was in school, is, for me anyways, is our north-south divide, right? And that's something that is within our strategic plan, and we talked about at school board meetings and meetings before I was involved in school board meetings. I think that's an opportunity for us to try to find a way to continue to bridge that gap between the north and south side, and just let everybody know that we're all one big community, right? So thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew. Jennifer?
So yes, a couple of repetitive things that I would mention as well. In terms of strengths, you know, we have a wonderful community here. I'm always impressed with the community of Willard. I have to say, moving here from a big town, I have always been impressed with what Willard has done as a small school system overall. It continues to impress me daily. And the people and students within the schools, of course. As I said earlier, we have always felt surrounded by just some of the best people, and so pleased to have those teachers and support staff for our students and the students themselves. I think a couple of other quick strengths would be the technology that the students have had access to and that continues to be implemented throughout the schools. The school board's willingness to seek new answers, new methods, new ways to do things, and continue to seek ways to improve, that's a strength. And I asked my daughter, when I was kind of going over these questions too, what she thought the strength of the school system was, and she said that she thought that the school system had high expectations for their students and were always there for their kids. And I would agree with her on that. In terms of weaknesses or opportunities to grow, really, as Matt put it, just ways to increase communication with all of the partners that we have, whether it's the community, whether it's the students, whether it's the teachers and the staff. I think there's ways to increase communication both ways, both outwardly and to allow them to have input into the process and feel like they're more part of the process. Another opportunity, I would say technology. And that's not that we don't have technology, but as a parent who feels pretty secure and there is a technology, it's very frustrating with everything being online, everything being on the computer, but there not being textbooks these days to try and keep up with the kids and to try and help parents really be able to also use the technology to make sure that their kids are doing what they need to do, that they're supported, that they have all their resources. A third opportunity to grow that I see would be inclusion, and there's a couple different types of inclusion, and I think Willard is working really hard on that as well. And that is, number one, inclusion in the special services division. So we have lots of kids with different needs and making sure that they are included more and more. My daughter is just one of them. I know a lot of those other parents, some who seek more inclusion than I even seek. So inclusion means a lot of different things to different people, but that type of inclusion. And also, just when talking to the students, making sure that they feel really included and that they feel heard, because sometimes I hear from them that they don't feel like they have as much of a voice as they would like to have.
Thank you. Amanda?
I think a couple of strengths that the district can be proud of is our focus on pre-K and early child education. I think that when we start early and prepare our children for learning, when they get into the school system, they are more prepared and ready to learn and be open to the education. And it also prepares them for the teachers that are teaching those students. I think another strength of our district is the opportunities that our students have to be involved in their school experience. When kids graduate from school, their experience in school means everything. Even if they're not going to college, do they have opportunities to get involved in trades? Do they have opportunities to be involved in something that they feel is important? So I feel Willard has really done a good job of offering arts, athletics, clubs, outdoor activities. There is something for every child at Willard, and I think that is important to maintain that, and the experience kids have in school will carry on way past graduation. Another strength is our focus on life-ready graduates, and I kind of alluded to a while ago about having trades. Not all kids are on a path to college or may want that, and I think we really need to support them through that journey and be able to offer them other choices besides a college path if they choose. A couple of priorities that I think the district should focus on would be to try to maintain small class sizes. I know that's a challenge as we want to grow the district and we have more and more students coming into the district, but small class sizes ensures personal attention to these students, and it allows the teachers to feel like they are successful at the end of the day. And all the teachers want to do is give these students their utmost attention. And they are their priority, and they want to feel successful and feel like they've had the time to do that. I think another priority would be to maintain our facilities. We need to offer a safe environment, an environment where kids and the teachers feel safe. And so just maintaining our facilities. Do we have good temperature in the classroom? Do we have air conditioning? Do we have heat in the winter? Do we have water leaking? All those things impact a child's environment for learning and the teacher's environment for teaching. The third priority would be, along with what some of the others have said, is the Leader in Me. That has been so impactful, and I am wholeheartedly in support of Leader in Me. I had the opportunity to be a part of that at Willard Central when they were rolling that out. and I learned alongside the teachers. But as the kids transition through middle school and high school, I feel like some of that is lost and maybe not a focus. And I feel like that's the time they really need it in those years. Those are tough years for our students. And the Leader in Me curriculum would be really a positive influence. The last thing I will say that should be a focus would be a consistent curriculum throughout the elementary schools and middle schools. We need to provide consistent curriculum for educators so that they know what they're teaching and kids can have that consistency even if they transfer school districts, elementary schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, we'll start with Matthew with this question. Describe strategies that you would implement to promote a partnership among all members of the educational community, students, parents, staff, administrators, and patrons.
Absolutely. So being on the school board, it's not about me or one person. We're a team, you know. So when I speak of these things, I speak of collaboration and promoting it as a board completely. We already have several great systems in place to promote partnership. However, with the current pandemic, you know, we face certain challenges, right? And it's required our awesome administration and staff to become creative. But within our current situation, I would continue to support and along with my other board members, things like seated school, right? I think that is a great strategy that has helped to promote partnership amongst our community. Continuing our activities where possible, continuing events like homecoming and homecoming parade and things like that. Those events, I believe, wholeheartedly promote partnership within our community and the staff and the students. And also things like our graduation, making sure that that's a priority, right, for our students. Strategies to directly relate to our staff and administration. I think we need to continue to provide quality professional development. We need to promote support and the lines of communication from our staff, support groups like MSTA and NEA. Continue to create lines of communication right between the administration board and those groups. I think when we have our gatherings at the beginning of the school year as a staff and our end of the year celebration, I think that's an area that continues to promote partnership with our staff and administration. From the board level, you know, we can impact our staff and administration by providing quality health insurance for our staff at affordable rates, right? And then also, I think a well thought out calendar with feedback from all the appropriate groups will help promote partnerships within our staff and administration. And for our parents and patrons, I think going back to that, continue to maintain our activities and our events where possible. I think that's very important to create strong partnerships with our community. I think there are opportunities for committees that we should explore and continue to use for our patrons and our parents. Forums, informational meetings, I think are a great way to create connectivity between our patrons and our parents. Things that I don't think we do a whole lot of at the moment, but sponsorship opportunities for small businesses and whatnot. I know we do have some, but maybe exploring more of that. And then just overall clear communication across all informational platforms. We have a great director of communication who works tirelessly to continue to get the information out to our patrons and our students, our parents, and our staff. And I think just continuing from the board level to support that is going to be very important. So thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer?
I think that promoting partnerships is really all about communication. So having those open lines of communication, whether it's with the community, with parents, with students, with staff, with teachers, really is a key to making sure that people feel that they have input and that they are being heard, as well as them knowing and hearing what is going on with the schools, for the teachers, their evaluations and that sort of thing. I talked earlier about the students being involved, and
Jennifer, your microphone's not on.
thank you. I knew that was going to be a problem. It's like being on Zoom, that's what I said earlier. To unmute myself. Well, I hope you've heard a little bit about that, about communication. One thing I had talked to recently, some of the students that come and go in my house, for example, is they would love to see a real student government association or some sort of student representative to the boards. They don't feel like they have a lot of input from the student body level, at least that's what I'm hearing from them. Also being able to use just social media outlets to create conversation amongst the community, to inform the community more on a daily level about what's going on, asking opinions, getting input, and just listening to what people are seeing, because of course we all have different perspectives within the community. There's just very easy ways to do community polling these days, everything from Instagram and Facebook to, sending out paper polls or emails. I mean, there's so many different ways to create lines of communication and really feel like we're building a partnership amongst all the different players in our community.
Thank you. Amanda?
To me, a partnership is about alignment of our goals and everyone knowing what the goals of the district are. I think we do a fairly good job of communication through social media, through email avenues, and I agree that our students have a voice in that, and our students need to get involved in what the goals are of the district as well. So I would really try to promote a culture of alignment and communication. Where are we going? How do we get there? And as long as people understand that and have a clear vision, I think we have all the right pieces and parts to do great things. We have engaged teachers, we have engaged students, we have engaged parents. There's always opportunity to engage further, but I really feel like the school district is in a good spot with engagement. It's just aligning our goals and where do we want to be in the future.
Thank you. Stephanie.
So I see partnership, I see what drives that is what everyone's been talking about is engagement and trying to get people to participate, whether that's students, parents, community members. And so how do we drive that up? And so in my profession, one of the biggest things I have to do is get people to work together in teams to solve a common problem. And there's really three things that affect whether or not people can do their parts in a team. And the first one is the buy-in piece. If people don't agree, like you were saying with alignment, if we don't agree that we have the same goal, or maybe we don't even agree on how to get to solve that goal, then you're not going to get engagement and participation toward that goal. The second piece is feasibility. So you may see that this is a great goal and these are all the things I should do to be engaged to help meet it. But if you can't feasibly do it because there isn't time or you don't have the resources, then it's not going to happen. So the way that we address that is through choices. So if parents want to be involved, you have to have lots of different ways people can be involved, because maybe somebody has a job at this time of the day or this place in the region, and so they may need different opportunities by which to become engaged feasibly. And then the third one is confidence. So I'm going to tell a little story, hopefully I don't go over. When my son first got involved in speech and debate, Kathy Tobin, if you're watching, she approached all of us parents about volunteering as judges. Now, I was completely bought in. I wanted to help. I understood that my son was benefiting by people volunteering to judge. I wanted to do that. The tournaments were on Saturdays, and so it was feasible in my schedule to be able to volunteer. But my biggest hangup was I was afraid to judge. I had never been in speech and debate. I didn't know anything about the different types of events. And so Mrs. Tobin is a smart gal. She held a clinic and she brought all of us in and taught us all about what these events were and how to judge. And so she helped us get over that last confidence piece of, I can be part of this team. I can be engaged. I know what to do in order to do that. So I feel like it's really those three pieces that we have to make sure are in place in order to drive up engagement.
Thank you. How would you, as a board member, handle questions brought to you by members of the school community, including patrons, parents, and staff? And we'll start with Jennifer.
And my son. Okay. I think the first and foremost thing that any of us have to do is to listen. I've learned as an attorney and working with so many different types of kids that typically the best thing to do is not talk and to listen and let people say what they have to say. Very often, they're gonna have great things to say, new ideas, maybe concerns. There's lots of different things as a board member that we're going to be hearing. You want to encourage ongoing discussion. And again, there's different ways to do that. And I would definitely want to let people know if I were serving on the board that my door is open. I want to hear from them, if they want to send me messages through Facebook or online, or give me a call or send me a note, fine, the door is open. I want to hear your thoughts and concerns. I think the other part of that, upon listening to people, is letting them know that there are a couple different players in this. So the board is the board, and the administration is the administration. And we have different roles. So sometimes they might be talking to the board, and maybe they need to talk to the administration. So maybe we can help direct them to the proper avenue to help them get done what needs to be done, or bring a concern to the proper person, because maybe it's not the board's position to do something in that case. It's part of the administration, and we don't want to work against each other. So make sure and be able to explain what our roles are in making the schools work well. And also, sometimes we have to be able to explain why we wouldn't want to do things if it doesn't line with our goals or what our projects are. But definitely still making sure that people are heard and they feel heard, even if their thoughts or their ideas at that time are not aligning with those current goals. Because, again, we're always trying to grow and improve and make sure that we hear all the different perspectives from our community. And I think there's lots of different ways to do that, whether, even at events, having opportunity for people to have input or letting people know what's going on.
Thank you. Amanda?
I think seek first to understand. A lot of people are going to bring opportunities our way, maybe have grievances, maybe just have questions about a decision or a process. So really spending time to understand all the factors that go into that opportunity. And then I think we really need, as a board and district, need to make data-driven decisions. Consider all the aspects, use data to help us make good decisions, and then close the loop. I think one of the most important things we can do to communicate and partner with our parents, with our educators, with our students, is close the loop in communication. Do not leave someone hanging without an answer or a response. That just builds trust. That builds trust in the board. That builds trust in each other, even if they may not like the answer or it's not a decision they were supporting. The why, and close the loop in communication. I think that is the most important thing we can do to be a partner.
Thank you. Stephanie?
So, sometimes people come to you with a question because they need some facts from you. And if I don't know the facts and they're out there, I'm gonna tell that person that I'm gonna look into it and get back to them. And so, closing the loop is the way to succeed in that situation. But as everyone has pointed out, sometimes people come to you with questions because really what they want to do is affect change, or they see a place where there could be an improvement, or maybe where there's a problem. And so they're questioning because they're wanting to get some kind of action moving forward. And in those situations, it's really important to speak with that person and really find out where is the best place to try to solve this problem. Oftentimes, people who are closest to where that problem or that question is coming up are the ones that have the most information about the dynamics that are there, as well as the resources that are available to affect change. And so it's important that if there's something going on someplace, that you're working with the people who reside in that area to come up with solutions, rather than skipping up a couple echelons up and trying to affect change from the top down. Because it's often harder for people at the top, even if they have a lot of technical knowledge, to be 100% familiar or aware of all the dynamics that are going on that are specific to that situation, and know exactly what could be ushered in and used in that situation to address the concern. So I think it really kind of boils down to a chain of command issue, making sure that if there's a concern somewhere, that we're taking it up with the people directly. And if you're still having a miscommunication or still having a disagreement there, then pulling in more minds, but doing that in a way that makes sense in terms of tapping the people closest first before you jump up to the top. So just making sure we're involving people who are most familiar with those situations to be able to solve problems.
Thank you. Matthew?
Can I just say do? I mean, they hit the nail on the head, right? Seek first, understand, right? That's a goal within our district, and it ties into listening. Going to those that are closest to the issue first, right? Chain of command. One of the hardest things I had to learn as a school board member, because when I came into it, I was like, I'm going to be able to really have some influence and to affect change and all that stuff. And you know what? That's not what the position is about. The position is about being part of a team that supports everything underneath us, right? The school board member's role and the school board's role is actually to create policy, which is based on the overall goal, the strategic plan, right? And to hire the superintendent and to hire a really good one, right? Which I think we've got a great one, shameless plug. And then let him and his staff or her staff, right, do what they do best. And then kind of an ancillary role of the board is to be there for our patrons and our parents and our students, to be a sounding board and to direct them to the appropriate places to get the answers. I personally, if I don't have the answers because I am involved in so many things, I'm not going to say necessarily that I will find you the answer, but what I am going to do so that I can quickly close the loop, right, is I'm going to get you to the person that you need to get those answers. And that's really important as a school board member. I personally never want any patron, any student, any staff to feel like they can't come to me as a school board member and to express to me the things that they feel they need to express, and to feel like we're not going to get to the place that they need us to get to, right? But the women on this panel have eloquently spoken to this topic, and I agree with everything that they've said. So, thank you.
Thank you. Goal number 2 of the Willard Comprehensive School Improvement Plan, CSIP, states that the Willard School District will recruit, train, and retain high-quality teachers, administrators, and support staff. How can that goal be achieved, and as a board member, how would you demonstrate your commitment to that goal? We will start with Amanda.
So for this question, I believe that continued recruitment and retention of high-quality teachers and administrators will be achieved by creating a culture of support from the board, from the administrators, and from the community. Our educators and administrators should feel supported, first and foremost. We need to provide opportunities for advancement and growth for our educators through career ladder development. Our teachers should feel like they have opportunities to grow within the district and take on larger roles and be able to have some advancement and future goals for their profession. As a board member, I will challenge our decisions to be focused on recruitment and retention, and our students deserve to have the best teachers and educators, and we as a district should set the bar high and not accept anything less. At the end of the day, our students' education should be the most important thing that we're focused on, and the retention and recruitment of our educators should be a very thoughtful process by the community, by the board, and we should support them, and they should feel supported because it's a hard job and not everybody wants to do it. So kudos to our teachers out there. We really are here to support you, and we really want the best environment for you to feel proud of your job.
Thank you. Stephanie?
So Amanda brings up great points about how to make teachers feel really supported. And so I'm going to return to that. But I think one of the first things to think about in terms of retaining and attracting people is the culture that the school district offers. And so there are cultures, organizations that have sort of this culture where there's maybe a really talented ruler or a group of rulers that are going to solve all the problems and push those solutions down in those organizations which really values compliance, right, to those processes. But then there's other organizations that really truly embody a leadership organization, which means you have one or two or a small group of people that are your leaders that look out on this vast group of talent that they selected because they saw something in all of those employees that they liked, and they realized, if I take those people and I put them into groups and I task them to solve these problems, they're going to come up with solutions that are far better than what we can do from a top-down standpoint. And so that's what keeps really passionate, innovative, highly trained teachers in place, because that culture allows them to use those talents. If they can't use those talents, they will not stay in a compliance-driven system. And so I think that is very important, that we're utilizing the talents of all these people that we have found in really desirable hires. So let's use their talents. And so that's number one, is that culture. Number two is what Amanda's talking about, just that support. Teachers need to be able to pay their bills. They need to be able to go home and see their kids or their families. They need to be able to attend activities that their kids are in. And so we need to make sure that we're not adding so many different expectations above and beyond what they're already doing. We're not adequately supporting supplies in the district, and that they're feeling pressure to have to purchase some of those things. We need to make sure that those things aren't happening. Because teachers are givers and they love their students, and they will subsidize that if we don't make sure that from a fiscal standpoint, we are taking care of that. And so as a school board member, that's one thing, probably not going to be popular, that I really think we need to be responsible. We have to make sure that all of our responsibilities to our teachers and our students are met first before we start thinking about anything above and beyond. And so that is, what my goal will be as a school board member, to honor that responsibility first.
Thank you. Matthew?
Yeah, so very valid points, right? As human beings, we want to feel supported, and I think that is, needs to be a high priority. And that can look like a lot of different things. Some of the things that rise to the top, and they always do, right, are competitive pay and benefits. And so if I'm allowed to be on the board for the next 3 years, then I will continue to fight for, or not even fight for, because our administration does a good job of making that a priority, but I will continue to support them in that effort, right? I think having a voice is another, and we've talked about that tonight, right? I think that's very important in maintaining, recruiting high quality staff and support staff. And the other thing that is important to me is, that the teachers have an opportunity to step away and to decompress. And like Stephanie said, go home and be with your families. And we've talked about that here a lot this last year about making sure that we don't add any more on the plate than is what's necessary, to continue to maintain that high quality education for our students, because that is our primary goal, is to provide that high quality education for our students. And the last thing that I think is really important to maintain, retaining, recruiting, is a term that Dr. Teeter brought to my attention, which is shared leadership. And that goes into basically what Stephanie was saying, right? They want to feel valued for their experiences and their knowledge and their abilities. And we have great, amazing staff that if we just step back and let them do what they need to do, what they know to do, then it's just only going to make everything from the bottom up function properly, right? So,
Thank you. Jennifer?
I think this is such a complex question and a tough question because, of course, there's the easy answers that we would all agree with, making sure that they're fairly compensated, which, getting to that fair number, that's a whole debatable issue on itself, right? Benefits, time off, feeling valued, any employee, and as an employer, you want your employees to feel valued, and particularly, sometimes you can't pay them as much as you even feel they're worth, but you want them to feel valued, and if they feel valued, they work hard and they will stay. Offering other things that are valuable to them in terms of continuing education or other ongoing training to help them work with their students, because let's face it, the job of teaching has changed so much and they have to deal with so many issues within the classroom these days. And for all intents and purposes, they are parenting kids, many kids that don't have parental support or structure at home, kids that suffer from trauma, kids that have mental health issues. And they have to try and teach these kids that have so many different needs, who learn in different ways. So providing additional resources, additional training for them to help them do their job more effectively, and to know that they do have supports, that it's not just them and the kids. That's where counselors come in, that's where administrators come in, and just thinking outside the box and how to solve some of those ongoing problems as families change and our world changes, and kids very often are raising themselves. So there's a lot of complex questions. I know I certainly don't have the absolute answer to, but just trying to think outside the box to support our teachers, make sure we have the best teachers and have them in the best light to do the best job. And also, of course, on the other side of things, making sure they understand the goals and expectations that they need to meet, giving them feedback, probably not only from above, but from below, letting the students be able to give some input, letting the parents be able to give some input, just like we would as professionals from our own clients.
Thank you. Okay, our final opportunity is just if there's anything else you would like to tell us about yourself or your candidacy for the Willard Public Schools Board of Education. And we'll start with Stephanie.
Well, I thought that after a long evening, having no additional comments would be a good thing in the interest of brevity. So I actually don't have other things to add. I just want to say that thank you for listening to this and being involved here in tonight's Meet the Candidate Forum. And just want to say I would really like the opportunity to give back, and please just consider giving me a chance to serve you and this community and your student for the school board.
Thank you. Patty?
First off, I wanted to say thank you to the women on this panel that are running for school board and for your willingness to serve. I'm humbled to be in the mix. And again, thank you all for your time this evening. I would just like to ask for another opportunity to serve. I have greatly been blessed by the opportunity. But I know that if I am not reelected, that we're in good hands. So thank you to the community that we live in, and thank you to our staff and our students that were the driving factor for my family and I to want to come and be a part of this community. So thank you.
Jennifer?
All in all, I would just say that children and family are kind of my passion. They've not only my own family, my own children are my passion, of course, but it's kind of become a passion in my professional life as well. I always joke that I was never one of those young college girls who couldn't wait to get married and have kids. Really, that was not even in the back of my mind when I went to law school and had a job and hit 30 and kind of said, hey, you know, we're gonna have kids, we better do it soon. And then I have my kids, and now I know there's nothing better than kids. You know, nothing better since sliced bread, right? So now I get to work with many, many kids, and I enjoy every minute of it, from my little tiny baby infants that I get to see all the way up to the unfortunate pregnant teenagers that I get to deal with, and having some influence and hopefully some positive role in their lives. You know, a lot of times and in the past, and I ran for school board once before and I wasn't elected, I have no hard feelings. Matt was elected that year, and we have wonderful school board members, so I feel well represented. I know a lot of times people think of me as being very involved in the special needs community because of my daughter Nora, and of course I am well connected there and feel like I can bring a different perspective on that side of things as well. But I would be truly honored to serve this community. My job would be to serve. I don't come in pretending that I am going to, suddenly pass a whole bunch of different policies, but I'm here to serve and listen and bring perspective for all children. And I thank you for having me tonight. And I agree, I am very honored to serve with any of these or to have any of these people as our representatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Amanda?
So first off, I want to thank you all for the opportunity. I have been blessed with meeting a lot of great people through this process. This is my first time running for school board. I have a lot of energy, which my husband can probably attest to, and maybe that's another conversation. But I will work hard for the district. I'll bring passion, I'll bring heart, I'll advocate for our students every day. So I just appreciate the support, the opportunity to be here, and I'm excited for the opportunity.
Thank you. Say thank you to all of our candidates and all of you that came out tonight to listen.